Hello and welcome to the Kenny T One-on-One podcast brought to you by Yatu T. My name is Kenny T, and today we're privileged to host Kim Otteby. She's the founder and managing director of Umoyo, right? She's also a transformative trainer, keynote speaker, mindset expert, and she's probably much more, but she'll tell us the story on her own. Kim, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. So good to be here. Thank you.
We're very privileged to host you. We've seen the work you've done with Umoyo. Well done.
Thank you. But it's work in progress. It never feels like we quite get there, you know? So we're continuing forward.
Kim, you're born in Sweden.
I was born in Sweden, yes.
Let's speak about that. But let's talk about your childhood. Which place in particular in Sweden were you born?
I was born in southern Sweden, a province called Skåne. But my parents actually moved to Zambia when I was only 3 years old, so I wasn't long in Sweden.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So you came to Zambia at 3.
Yes.
What brought your parents to Zambia?
Well, I think my father was a bit of an adventurer, and the world was very different back then. You know, we didn't have the internet, and it was very difficult to communicate then, of course, with all the relatives back home. So it was a big move, and it was myself and my little brother, who was only 1 year old at the time. So it was a big move for the family, and they were really only going to be here a few years, and now it's, I don't know, almost 50 years later, they're still here. So, yeah.
They settled in. So at 3, you went to school. You went to school in Zambia.
I did. I went to the International School of Lusaka.
ISL. Okay.
ISL, yes. I was there. I even remember the buildings back then.
Okay.
But we were here for a few years, and then my parents moved, and therefore I moved, to Uganda, and they were there for several years. So the rest of my lower school was in Uganda.
What kind of work did your parents do?
It's been a whole mix. Initially, it was a bit of NGO type work, but then my father went into private business. But it's been a whole mix of things.
It's a mix of, so you're in Uganda for how long?
I'm not sure, but I spent my teenage years there. And when I got to high school, unfortunately, there was no more international school there. And I had to, and my parents were still living there, and I had to choose, well, where do I go then for schooling? So I had a few choices, perhaps Kenya, perhaps Tanzania, but I felt that maybe it was time to go back to Sweden and just reconnect with my roots a little bit. So I went and did high school in Sweden. It was a boarding school. My parents remained in Africa.
So you stayed in Sweden for how long?
That was 3 years. 3 years of high school. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
At what point did you return to Zambia?
Well, the journey has been very, very long after that, because then I went to university. I studied economics and management, and I worked as a strategy consultant for a few years in London. Until I realized that the path that I had chosen in life was not really what I was put on this earth to do. It was not in line with my purpose. But, you know, when we're young, we have to explore in order to find what our purpose is, what we're meant to do. Yeah. And that was what I was doing those early years. But after I had gotten the top job in London, and I'd kind of climbed the ladder, and I was earning a good salary, I kind of looked around, I thought, is this it? Is this why I worked so hard? And it just, like I said, it wasn't in alignment with what I felt I wanted to do. But I had no clue what it was.
You had no idea.
No idea whatsoever. But pretty much overnight, I quit my job, and I decided, it was really a decision, that I was going to figure out what my purpose was.
So you quit your job before you even figured it out?
Oh, yeah, I quit my job before I figured it out.
Were you unhappy in your job?
Yeah, well, it was, you know, day after day, that feeling, it was like a knot in your stomach where you just, like, this is not right. I'm not supposed to be here. And it grew over time to a point where I think it was like a breaking point, yes, where it was, I can't do this, not a day longer. I quit now. I need to figure out what is right for me, where I'm supposed to be, where I fit in. Yeah.
So now the process of, discovering yourself in terms of what you want to do, what did you have to go through? And then how did you arrive at where you where you found yourself?
Yeah. Well, I took a complete break. I just felt I needed a break from where I was living, from what I was doing, from the people I was seeing, everything. So I basically jumped on a plane and went to Barbados and became a windsurfing instructor. It was like the most different thing I could have done from my corporate job, right?
Yeah.
And it was fantastic because it took me out of my head and really into my body. Very physical windsurfing. I don't know if you have come across windsurfing. It's basically a board on water, and there's a sail attached to it. And once you learn how to do it, you're going like 100 miles an hour on the water, skipping along. It's exhilarating, but it's also very physical, tough on the body. And I loved it, and I just immersed myself in that process. And slowly things started to become clearer for me. And I decided, no, what I've always been interested in was health, and in particular natural health and nutrition. But I always thought, it's a hobby. Can't make a living doing nutrition? I mean, seriously, no. You make a living, you need a proper job.
Yeah, you need a proper job.
You need a proper,
you need to work in the bank. You need to work for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think when I graduated from university, there were two main things people in my class either became. It was either they became a banker, an investment banker in particular, or a strategy consultant. And banking didn't interest me, and that's why I went for strategy consultant. I never really thought about what do I want to do. I was one of those sheep. I just followed the herd, what everyone else was doing, what everyone else thought success looked like. That's what I went with, without really asking the questions for myself, what is right for me. So taking that complete break, it just allowed me some distance to really go within and to start asking those questions. And when I came back, I'm like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to work with health. So that meant I had to go back to school because I had a master's in economics and management from Oxford University.
Wow.
But I could not get in to study nutritional medicine because I didn't have biology. I didn't have chemistry. I had physics, I had math, but that wouldn't help me. So I spent a summer just doing a crash course, A-levels in biology and chemistry, so that I could get into university and study nutritional medicine. Yeah. And that's what I did. I was so determined. And at the same time, I got a job working in a health food shop in Wimbledon, in London. So everything I was learning, I was applying. And never in my wildest dreams did I think that, so many years later, I would own a health food shop. And it was quite a funny story. I remember once I was windsurfing and I met this lady from England. She was older than me. And she was also there windsurfing. She was there on holiday. And I was so impressed with this lady because she owned not one, but 2 health shops. In England. And in my eyes, she had made it. Yeah. Oh, wow, and I was just starting off doing my studies in nutritional medicine. That seemed like such a big thing to have achieved. And it was my dream. And now, so many years later, here I am. And not only do we have 2 health shops, there are 9 health shops and so much more to that, So it's interesting how...
There are 9?
Yes.
Is it within Lusaka or across the country?
Well, mainly Lusaka, but we also have one on the Copper Belt. And of course, we also have our online shop. So It's incredible how a seed can be planted. And over time, if you nurture it, if you water it and you don't give up and you really give yourself to that dream, how it can actually blossom, which it's so wonderful when you look back like that.
So when you came up with the idea of setting up of Umoyo, right? How did you come up with the name? Did you speak to some people?
I wasn't even gonna. I knew I wanted to set up a health clinic. That was how it started.
Okay.
As I was learning more about natural health and studying more, it was started with nutritional medicine, but then I studied iridology, live blood analyses, colon hydrotherapy, all sorts of healing modalities, and I really wanted to set up a health clinic. I went. I traveled also to some of the best naturopathic doctors and health clinics in the world so I could do apprenticeships and really learn from the best. So I knew I wanted to bring all this information, all this knowledge that I had learned, put it together and open a clinic, but I didn't know where. I hadn't decided where. Initially I thought, oh, Southern Europe would be nice. It's nice weather, and people from the Northern Europe could come down and do programs, detoxification programs and so on. But I hadn't considered Zambia. My parents had moved back here. They were living here, and I would come and visit every now and again. And I remember very clearly, I came to visit them, see how they were doing. And this time around, I just really reconnected with Africa, and I realized how much I had missed it. Because this was really where my childhood was at. And once it gets in your blood, it's like there. In your blood. And I thought, is it possible to open up a clinic, a health clinic? This was back in 2007 in Zambia. And I thought, no, you're crazy, Kim. It won't work here. Won't work. But my determination was so great that I thought, you know what? I'm just going to give it a go. I wasn't sure if it was going to work, but I wanted to live here. I wanted to stay here. And I knew that there was no option. I was going to open up a health clinic. So I just gave it a go. And because I had spent, you asked about the name. Yeah. Initially, Umoyo was not Umoyo.
What was it?
Yeah, initially it was my Afia. Afia means health in Swahili. Oh. So it was my health.
Okay.
But people had problems with this name, hey? Yeah. Miafia? You're part of the mafia. And then, like 2 years down the road, one of my employees came to me and said, Kim, you do realize that if you say Miafia quickly and continuously, it sounds like the local word for problems.
Oh, yes. I'm Afia in Bemba.
Yeah. And I thought, why didn't anyone tell me this sooner? This is not good. This is not, good energy for the company. We got to change it. So I asked people, what is the word for health? In any of the local languages, what is the word for health? And there is no specific word for health. Umoyo means life, but good life.
It's good life. Yeah.
Good life. Yeah. That was the closest I could come to. Yeah. And also it was a word that people could pronounce. And I also loved how it looked. It was like a balanced word. So it wasn't the initial name, but I'm very happy that we changed it.
No, it's good you changed it because even when especially if you are Zambian and you understand the local languages, when you just hear Umoyo, it tells you something.
Yeah.
And if there's products branded Umoyo, without asking, all of a sudden you feel like, okay, this is really what I need. But Kim, let's speak about the health clinic. This concept was new to a lot of Zambians, still new to others. Let's speak about that a little bit. What is a health clinic?
We were a natural health clinic, and you're absolutely right. This was like a completely new concept. Yeah. Like I said, I founded Umoyo February 2007. So that is almost 20 years ago.
That's a long time.
19 this year. And nobody was talking about natural health back then. And once again, we didn't have social media. Yeah. The internet was there, but social media wasn't there. So what people knew about health would be what they had read in a book or what they'd seen maybe in a health magazine. So knowledge was really limited. Yeah. It was very difficult in the beginning. There was, I would say, zero market for what I wanted to do. Yeah. And really, I had to create the market.
Yeah. And then also, I'm sure you met people who were telling you, no, Kim, this is not going to work.
But I didn't even hear them. I was like,
you're focused.
Yeah, no, I just knew this was what I was going to do. Yeah. No one was going to stop me. And at that point, money, I wasn't doing it to earn money. I was not an entrepreneur. I didn't see myself as a business person. That was not the point of this. The point was me having a dream, following my passion. That was it. That was as far as I could see. Yeah. So that's how it started.
Very nice. So now, which one was the first shop?
Well, like I said, we started with a clinic, and that was really helping people overcome lifestyle illnesses, chronic illnesses, things like diabetes, hypertension. We got a lot of people who were overweight, wanted to lose weight, and we were doing really cutting-edge programs for them, and which also involved a lot of cleansing, detoxification, cutting-edge therapies, really incredible work. But what happened was that as people got onto healthier lifestyles, there were no quality products, natural health products, to support them at that time.
Okay.
This is a long time ago.
Yeah.
Zambia looks very different today. Now, whatever you want, you can get. But back then, you couldn't get quality products. Yeah. And that's why I thought, we need a health shop. So one day I was, and back then I should say, we only really had 2 malls in Lusaka. It was Mandahill and Arcades. Arcades had just opened. And I was walking down one of the corridors at Arcades back then, and there was a shop that was empty. And I thought, that's interesting. It was quite a small shop. And I thought, let me just take a chance. Let me go to the mall management and just ask.
And ask.
So I did just that, and they said, sure. It's yours. You can take it. They just trusted me. They had no clue who I was. Umoyo was not a big brand. Nobody knew who Umoyo was. And I just decided, okay, I'm going to open this health shop. I went down to Garden Compound, found a carpenter who made some shelves for me. I painted the walls myself.
Really?
Yeah. That first time. And the first shipment from South Africa, it was a tiny shipment. We didn't have a budget back then. Tiny shipment, but we started. We didn't have a till system. We recorded everything by hand.
Manually.
Yeah, so it was very, very humble beginnings. But that's how we started. So it was the shop at Arcades, and it's still the very same shop there today. In fact, it's the same shelving that I got from Garden Compound. That is still there, standing strong. Yeah.
So now when you, after the clinic, you opened your first shop, how did people respond to your shop?
The response was good, but it took time for people to get interested. And in the beginning, I just ordered all the products that I thought were phenomenal, But over time, we've learned what sells here, what people are really interested in, and so on. But like I said, there was no real market when we started. I had to create the market, and I did that in many different ways. I wrote in the national newspaper every week a health article for 7 years, and that was to get people interested in health.
Yeah.
I was on radio maybe 3 times a week back then. I was doing breakfast shows on TV, doing healthy snacks, and getting people interested in their health, What else was I doing? I was doing a health talk at the clinic, a free health talk every week. So there was a lot of work that went into just getting people interested in what we were offering. But yeah, very humble beginnings, very slow. We started very slow. And I think it's only now that people are really interested in health. And we've seen this evolution because back then, for instance, you never saw anyone jogging on the street.
Actually, that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to say. Like if you get up around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, huge groups of people, are jogging and stuff like that. But even in the gyms now have increased in numbers.
100%.
Yeah.
We have so many fitness influencers. People are interested in health. They're taking a real interest, and that's great, but that was not how it was back then.
Yeah.
That has changed over time. And another example, which shows it so clearly for me, is we do a drink, a baobab juice, and we have many drinks, but baobab juice is one, a red passion, a hibiscus drink is another one. And people started coming to us in the last couple of years and said, we love your juices, but there's sugar in them. We want a juice that doesn't have any sugar. And I was shocked because I always thought of Zambia, it's like everyone loves sugar, cannot survive without it. But everyone wants sugar.
Yeah.
And now people are coming to us saying, hey, can you do a sugar-free version? So this was demand-driven. They wanted us to come up with even healthier products for them, which we did. And now you can find sugar-free versions of these drinks. So the landscape has really changed over this 20-year period, for sure.
So from what I'm seeing, feedback from your customers also has helped you shape your brand into what it is, isn't it? Because sometimes you get, someone is selling something and you give feedback. For example, I want a drink that's sugar-free, and they're like, no, us what we sell is got sugar and stuff like that. But it looks like you've been listening to your customers. And
we have to, because we are still very niche, very, very niche. And Zambia, the economy, it's not a big economy. So the market that we have, it's still a small market. So we have to respond to our customers. And we've also had to learn, it's actually wonderful to have the shops there, also now that we've gone into our own manufacturing, because we test things in our shop. Let's put this new product in a few shops. Let's see how they do, what people are saying. But yeah, you're absolutely right. You got to listen to that feedback. You can't just push and push and push. But having the retail outlets also allows us to test things now. And now that we've gone into manufacturing as well, and the reason we did that was, like I said, our market is very niche. There's only so many health shops that you can have out there in Zambia, right? So how do we reach a bigger market? And this became crucial when COVID hit, because the business almost went under during COVID. Because our supply chain lines were interrupted, the exchange rate started running against the dollar, and we were earning kwacha, but our rent is in dollar. We're buying products in dollar, yet we're selling in kwacha. And that equation it didn't go together, and the business was failing. And we had to take a long, hard look and say, well, how do we save this business? And it was a very challenging period of time for me because I put my heart and soul into this, and now it's failing. And I internalized that as I'm a failure. And people were always congratulating me, Umoyo's doing so well. But inside, I'm like, I felt like a fraud almost because I knew what was happening to the business. And because of that really, really tough period, the business pivoted. And it was out of pure necessity. Yeah. And now looking back, I'm very grateful because it was the best thing that could have happened for the business. But when you're going through it, it's tough. It's tough. Yeah. And we pivoted to not just being retail, but to buying local raw materials, adding value to them by creating these innovative products, and now selling them not just in our shops, but wider field in all the chain stores, supermarkets across the country, so we could reach a much greater audience, right? So that is how we pivoted. And it meant also that we weren't as dependent on imports and as dependent on the exchange rate being favorable, the kwacha dollar exchange rate, because we were buying in kwacha, local raw materials, adding value, and then selling in kwacha. And of course, longer term perspective, we would love to also export. So we can earn some foreign exchange. Some foreign exchange. Yeah.
So now I'll just take you back to the shops a little bit. So after the first one at Arcades was open, which one was the second one?
The second one was actually East Park. East Park was this new development, and people thought, this will never work. Because it took a long time before East Park really gained traction. And when that mall opened, we were one of the first shops to be open on that very day. It was like us and ShopRite and a handful of others, but there was not a lot of things going on there. And initially we thought, will this work? It's right opposite Arcades,
That's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, why didn't you take it like to Kabulonga or something? But there's too much. The proximity is too close.
It's incredible that how we thought it would perhaps negatively affect the business at Arcades, but it didn't. And both shops have grown. Obviously, Arcades have went through a bit of a downturn when they did the whole renovation and everything. Yeah. But I think that was our second shop. And then we opened, of course, Woodlands. That was one of the early shops. There have been a lot of shops, at least 3 that I can think of, if not more, that we opened and later shut. So there have been examples of where we tried we opened a shop, we invested a lot of money in it, and it failed. It just didn't work. We had one at Foxtel at one point. We had one on...
I remember the one on Foxtel.
Oh, you do? It was a tiny little one. Yeah, back in the early days. And then we had one on Great North Road. And we had also one in McKinney Mall at one point. But for various reasons, these shops... and actually, I can think of a fourth one, Leopard's Hill Mall as well. So there have been a few.
Leopard's Hill, yeah.
So sometimes, you try something, it doesn't work, you got to cut your losses, and that's part of business.
It's part of business, yeah. And usually, people identify our businesses based on their success. They don't remember that there are things that, there's certain businesses we got into that didn't actually work. I met someone who was telling me that what I like about you is that everything you do succeeds. I'm like, no, it doesn't. I don't know one single businessman who succeeds at everything they start, everything they get into.
No, that is so true. And even with Umoyo, it's been a roller coaster. I mentioned COVID, how difficult the time was, but also last year, for manufacturing, the sector, it was hard with the electricity,
the load shedding.
The load shedding. Once again, we got into a right hole. But we're getting out of it now. There's light at the end of the tunnel. And at the end of the day, I believe we have grown from it. We will be stronger because of it. And it makes you look at areas perhaps where you didn't spend so much time earlier and really tightening up, becoming more efficient, and so on. And that's what we've had to do again.
So in manufacturing, Kim, what exactly are you manufacturing?
Yeah, so we started with water. I don't know if you've seen this pink water.
Yes.
So we were importing alkaline water for our health clinic because we were giving it to our patients. It's extremely healthy water. And then we were selling it in our health shop. And then one day we're like, this is insane to import water. Like, can we not make alkaline water ourselves? So we had no idea what we were doing, but we decided, we made a decision, and that's kind of how we operate. On a shoestring budget, we converted in our offices one of the bathrooms, 2 by 1 meter, more or less, into a water production facility, alkaline water production facility. We got it approved by ZABS, all the agencies, but it was minute.
Very small.
And that's how we started. That's how we started manufacturing our alkaline water. We were the first in the country with alkaline water, and that pink color, that was really to differentiate ourselves. That's how it started, we just converted a little bathroom at our head office. Go ahead.
Before I ask how the plant is now, but I just want to ask, how different is this water from a health perspective compared to other water brands that are out there?
Well, like I said, we were the first alkaline water on the market, and we did it because our clients wanted alkaline water, and we didn't want to have to import it. And also, of course, if we made it ourselves, it meant that we could offer it at a much lower price. It took us about a year to get it into ShopRite. They just kept saying, no. And we're like, why not, kind of thing. But we just kept persevering, and we didn't accept it as a final answer. And after a year, we finally got it into ShopRite. And that was the first retailer that stocked the alkaline water. And then, of course, years later, now there are other water companies that jumped on the bandwagon are doing alkaline water. But alkaline water, it's really to do with the pH of the water.
That's what I wanted you to speak about. Okay.
So you may recall in your chemistry class at school, the pH scale. So it's 0 to 14, and in the middle you have 7, and that's neutral. So anything below 7 is considered acidic. Anything above is considered alkaline. Now, when in school, you're basically taught that water is neutral. But a lot of water that you buy on the market is acidic. And you can check on the label, it should say what the pH of the water is. But our bodies are designed to be in an alkaline state. Our tissues are supposed to be in an alkaline state. And when our tissues are in an alkaline state, disease pretty much cannot exist. So bacteria, viruses, fungi, yeast, cancer cannot exist in an alkaline environment. They thrive in an acidic environment. So by drinking alkaline water, you're adding alkalinity to your body, which is going to help the alkalinity of your tissues, which is good for your health. Saying that, it is not a magic bullet. Because the way you live in terms of what you eat and your lifestyle will determine, I should say, ultimately what your pH of your body is, what your tissues are, your state of health. But this is one thing out of many things that you can do to bring your body back into a more alkaline, healthy state.
Fantastic. Let's speak about your manufacturing plant now. It started in your office. Where are we now?
So, there have been many iterations of this. We started, in our office, and then we had to rent more and more space. And we rented, at one point, I think we had 4 houses, just regular houses. And we had operations, a manufacturing facility in there. And at one point, it's like, this ain't working. You can't be doing manufacturing in like a bedroom or a living room, you know. And we had no money, and we had no. We didn't have any assets that we could take to the bank for collateral.
Get a loan,
and it's tough.
No, it's difficult.
And it's expensive as well. But we managed to find a way where instead of buying land, we got land in Memphis, the multi-facility economic zone, South Lusaka. So we got a plot of land there, and we were able to negotiate with one of the banks in order to get a loan to build our facility. So
nice.
we managed. It wasn't cheap, it wasn't easy, but we managed. So now we have a factory there and a full water bottling plant facility there. But we don't just do water, we do juices. I mentioned hibiscus, we call it red passion. It's a beautiful, beautiful drink. Immuno Boost, it's a collection of all the main herbs that we have locally here in Zambia that help boost your immune system. We've put all of those in there. We have a baobab drink. We have something called Dr. Ho's formula, which is for weight loss, and so on. What Umoyo is all about is using natural ingredients. So when you take an Umoyo product, you can trust it. There is integrity there in the ingredients that we use. We're not putting chemicals. A lot of the drinks that you buy on the market, it's sugar water that has been flavored with chemicals and that has been colored with chemicals. With Umoyo, like our hibiscus drink, the Red Passion, it is beautiful, dark red. Not because we put red food coloring, but because of the hibiscus, the real hibiscus flower that has gone in there. The taste is from the hibiscus, the real cinnamon, the real lemongrass that we put in there. And of course, when you put real ingredients into anything, then you also get the nutritional properties that those real those real ingredients just naturally have in them, right? You get that naturally in the food or the drink. So that is what we're about. Ultimately, it's all about health, using real ingredients. So you can trust our products and you can trust that not only do they taste good, but they're going to be good for you. They're supporting your health, not subtracting from your health. So we do the drinks. We also do a beautiful, nutritious instant porridge. Okay. We do herbal teas, and the list goes on.
Oh, wow. Now, let's speak about, you spoke about a juice that can help you lose your weight.
Yes.
You said something.
Yes, yes.
Weight loss is a big issue in Zambia today, and I think this is why we're seeing people jogging and and so forth. But a lot of men and women are struggling with their weight.
Yeah, yeah.
How does this juice help them?
Oh, well, it's called Dr. Ho's formula, and it's probably one of our top sellers.
It is, right?
Yes, it is. And it really is, it helps detoxify the body. That's how it helps. Because if you're full of toxins, if your colon is not working, if you're also acidic, then it's extremely difficult for you to lose weight. So it works on the principles of cleansing and detoxification. But you're not going to drink, this is the, okay, I'm going to put a little disclaimer here. This is the only Umoyo product that you're not drinking because it tastes good. It does not taste good.
Taste
no.
But it does the trick.
But it does the trick. And that's why it's our most popular best-selling product, because it works.
It works.
It
now,
really
Kim,
works.
I want to ask, let's say I'm struggling with my weight, right? And I buy this product. Do I also need to watch what I eat? Because now I'm thinking, I've seen people who will go in the gym, work out the whole day, or in the morning, lunch and afternoon. But when they go home, they eat in shima that big.
Yeah.
They eat in shima that big, and they're not watching what they're eating. Is this supposed to be complemented with a healthy type of eating for it to work?
You see, as human beings, we always want the quick fix, right? That's just how we're wired, Yeah. What pill can I take or what can I drink to miraculously lose that belly fat? But, that's not how it works. That's what we want, but that is not how it works. So, like the Dr. Ho's formula that I was talking about, it will help speed up the process. It will help make it easier for you. But the fundamentals still remain the same. You still got to eat healthy. You got to watch what you're eating. You got to pay attention. You still have to move your body, however that looks like for you. But those are fundamentals. You'll never get rid of that. The supplements that you take, the Dr. Ho's formula or other products that we have in the Umoyo shops, they can speed up the process, make it a little bit easier for you, perhaps help you balance your blood sugar so you're not craving foods as much, and so on. But the fundamentals will always be there.
They'll always be there. So Kim, how are you managing to, sort of like take care of all of these businesses? Are you at every branch, every outlet, every day, which is impossible, but how do you manage to make sure that things are running smoothly and everything is okay?
It's been a huge challenge, and I'm sure you've experienced the same growing your business. Yeah. So, when the business is small, you know the business inside and out. You know exactly how much money is in this account and that account. Can we afford this? Can we afford that? You understand, and you have the finger in all the pies. And you have to, because it's small, But as you grow, that no longer is possible. And this is when you have to create those systems. And there's real growing pains here. And we've made so many mistakes trying to figure out what those systems are and making sure it's not just creating systems. You then have to check the system. You got to monitor the systems. And then, of course, it's hiring the correct or the right team. And that's not a once-off process either. That's a continuous, ongoing thing, and making sure that people are trained and motivated and so on. So it's been a process. We're still going through that process. I believe it's probably going to continue forever. It's nothing that's really ever done. Sometimes I feel like, okay, we've done everything right. We're at a good place now. Now we can relax. But that's not how business works. That's not how life works. Because if you stop, you don't just stay there, you start moving backwards. So you kind of always have to move forward. But I'm more on the higher level in terms of managing the business. I don't get involved in every day-to-day decision. So the way I work is that I do a management meeting every single week. I actually had one this morning. It's every Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock. I get there at 7:30 because 7:30 every single day at Umoyo, we do something called priming. So the whole company comes out in the car park and we stand in a circle and we do 4 things. We do some exercise, and this is really to get the blood flowing and wake up in the morning. We do gratitude. Someone comes into the circle and speaks about what they're grateful for. Mm-hmm. We do breath work. We're a health company, so we're going to be working with health, some kind of breathwork exercise. And then on a Tuesday, because I'm always there on a Tuesday, I do some motivational talk or inspiration or something that I have perhaps been reading about or implementing in my own life. I'll share that. And then we end with a prayer. So it's a beautiful thing we do every single day. Okay. And then I go into the management meeting, and it's really all the heads of department. And we go through the week, and we have various statistics that we follow and look at, and we discuss what the problems are. So that's how I manage it now. But that only works because I trust my people, I trust the team, and they, of course, the heads of department have good teams underneath. But it is a continuous improvement process. We're always learning, and we're certainly not perfect, and nothing goes according to the plan usually,
That's how it is in
That's
business,
how it is,
it's
absolutely.
Yeah. Now let's speak about your role now. You're not so much into the running of the business, like being there hands-on and so forth. Let's speak about your new role where you're giving these online classes and so forth.
Yeah. I also feel that we, as human beings, we evolve. Who I was 20 years ago when I started in Umoyo, I'm not that person now, right? I've evolved. And you see, when I started, I was so passionate, like I hope I conveyed, about natural health and nutrition. Every single book on nutrition, I've probably read it, I was like that sponge. I just want to learn more. And as I've learned more and more about health, I realize how important it's not just the physical. Even when we want to take care of the physical, we still have to take care of the emotional. We have to take care of the mental. And I've become more and more interested in that. And then I looked at myself and my life and my evolution with Umoyo as a business owner, and how my mindset has had such a huge effect on me, how it's held me back, and how it's also propelled me forward in certain aspects. So I've taken a real interest and deep dive into the emotion and mental aspect of our health, and linking that in terms of how that then links up with our success in life, and our fulfillment, and us being able to live our purpose and aligning who we truly are and living from that. And that is really what my passion has turned into now. And I share that with people, helping people uncover what it is their passion is. What is their purpose? Why are they on this earth? What is their... Umoyo was the thing for me, right? But what is their little Umoyo, right? Yeah. And that's what I help people do, and helping them overcome their own limitations, their own limiting beliefs. Because truly, we are the ones limiting ourselves. We think it's, I don't have the right resources, or I don't have money, or we make so many excuses, and we think it's all external things. At the end of the day, we are the biggest limiting factor in our life, in all areas of our life. And it's helping people identify that, and then giving them the tools how to overcome that, so that they can truly see what their potential is. So I do workshops, I do a lot of talks, a lot of corporate speaking engagements, and I've developed some online courses as well to help people. If you just Google my name on Udemy, you'll see those courses there. So this is really my passion now.
So if I want to be part of one of your online courses or classes, what do I have to do?
Well, like I said, you can go online now, right now on Udemy, and you will find I have 2 courses that are out there at the moment. One is Illuminate, and that's a shorter course to really discover your passion, your purpose, and create a vision for your life, like a real compelling vision that gets you really excited. And then once you have that vision for your life, then the next course it's called Breakthrough. And now it's, well, how do we make that vision a reality? How do we turn that into reality? And that's a longer course. But yeah, so I would check those, start there.
Yeah. So your students, so to speak, are they just local, or international students as well?
So I do live classes as well. I run these courses in person here in Zambia, but I really created the online courses to reach a wider audience, and also to be able to offer it at a much lower cost, a much lower price tag for people. Yeah. So they're very, very affordable online.
Kim, we're speaking about health. What are some of the health tips that you can give to the people out there? Because there's still some of us that are still taking it for granted. But before you answer that, you take a break and we'll be right back. You're watching the Kenny T 101 podcast, brought to you by Yatu. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Kenny T 101 podcast on YouTube. Also hit that bell button so that every single time we upload an episode, you get that notification. Kim, let's speak about some healthy tips that you can, some health tips that you can give to the people that are watching us right now.
Where to start? There's so much to speak about. I think if we start maybe with nutrition, which is one aspect of health, and it's a big one. Mm-hmm. I think the number one thing I would say, and remember, I've studied this. I have used myself as a guinea pig. I've worked with people. I've been on one extreme where I was raw vegan, where I just ate plants and I didn't even cook them. That's what raw vegan means, right? I've been on that extreme, and I've been on the other extreme where I've just eaten meat, like carnivore diet. And I've tried pretty much everything in between. And now when you go online, there's so much information. How do you actually know what to eat and what not to eat? What is actually healthy? Because you can find research studies that support all sorts of things, right?
But one thing I think that we can always come back to, and if you just do this, and that is cut out all the processed stuff. I think if we could just do that and eat food that is as close to nature as nature intended to, ooh, if you do that, you are winning. But unfortunately, so much of what we eat these days is processed foods. And when we process our foods, we remove all the good stuff. We process out, all the fiber, the vitamins, the minerals, the phytonutrients, all these things that add to our health. And instead, we put in fats and sugars, and it's not the good fats, it's the hydrogenated oils, sugars, the chemicals, the preservatives. So if we can just remove as much of the processed foods as possible, just that one thing, it makes a massive difference. And then in terms of health, it's kind of what we spoke about before, in that, health is it's not just physical. You can take care of your body, eat the best diet, go to the gym, work out, and still get cancer. Why is that? How is that possible? It's because our health is not just the physical. It is also the emotional. It is the mental. It's the spiritual. We are a totality of all those things. And if you truly want to optimize your health, then you have to look at all those facets of who you are. Very, very important. If you're stressed all the time, it's going to affect not just your mental health, but your physical health as well. If you're not dealing with your emotions, if you got resentment in your body, it's going to affect you physically. It's going to result probably in some kind of physical illness or disease in the future. Everything affects us. So we have to look at health as a totality of who we are. And we're not just our physical bodies. We are so much more than that.
Speak to people who want to venture into business, not necessarily directly in line with the type of business that you're doing, but just generally, because I think you have a very interesting journey in as far as business is concerned.
I believe, and this has worked for me, this is how I've done it, is that if you really want to do well at something, you got to love what you do. There has to be some passion underlying it, because if you're just going out in the world and saying, I just want to earn money, I really think that that's not enough to really drive you, because as a business owner, it's not easy. And it's challenge after challenge after challenge. There's going to be so many obstacles, so many hurdles. And I know for me, speaking for myself, if it wasn't for my passion for natural health, Umoyo wouldn't exist today. I would have given up years ago. So I really do believe that you need to connect with something that you feel passionate about, because that's going to drive you forward when things get tough. And believe me, things will get tough. And I truly also believe that when you connect with that passion, and you follow it, you have the guts to follow it, because it takes guts, it takes courage, because when I started, for instance, I went for that more traditional career, the strategy consultant. And then now I'm going to do what? Nutrition? Who makes a living doing nutrition? That's, like I said, that's more of a hobby. So it took guts for me to change and to follow that passion. But I do believe that passion reveals your purpose. And I from that purpose, then, if you're able to translate that into a business, now you're on to something. And that's what I believe I've been able to do with Umoyo. But be very clear on what your underlying why is. Why are you doing what you're doing? If you don't know, if you haven't got a strong purpose deep within, why should anyone buy from you? What's special about you? You got to have that deep underlying why and connect with it.
Interesting. Really briefly, you mentioned in part that people are able to buy your products online within. So for someone that is interested in any of your products now and they're interested in buying online, how do they go about it?
Yeah, umoyo.com. Just go online. We have everything that you find in our shops is also online. We deliver to your doorstep wherever you are in Zambia and beyond, actually. And we're seeing more and more people shop online. And now this year, this is the first time we've done this. When you go online, automatically you get a 10% discount on all our products. So that's a huge bonus as well. Yeah.
Very interesting. There you have it. So now we've got a question as we wind up from our previous guest. For you, Kim. The question is, what type of Zambia do you want to see? Obviously, in relation to leading a holistic lifestyle.
What type of Zambia do I want to see? Well, I think I'll answer it a little bit broader as well to start, and then maybe narrow it in. Zambia for me is home. I love Zambia. And we have so much going for us here, so many incredible resources. And I think I would like to see a Zambia that can really capitalize on that can find more stability for businesses also to thrive. Because I believe for this country to grow, it's going to be the businesses, it's going to be the private sector that drives this country forward. So more stability so that really create a strong foundation for all these small, medium-sized businesses to really take off. And then furthermore, for everyone who lives here, one thing that strikes me, whenever I smile at anyone here in Zambia, everyone smiles back. We're happy, we're joyful. And for us to continue to hold on to that, keep that side, that kindness and that friendliness. And then from a more health side of things, I love what's happening on that side, how people are becoming more and more interested in health. And I think it's so important. And it comes down to taking responsibility for our health. Because in the past, when we got ill, we would just go to the doctor and say, I got high blood pressure. Give me a pill. Solve my problem. And the thing is, that pill might lower your blood pressure temporarily, but it doesn't solve the problem. When you stop taking that pill, your blood pressure shoots right back up. That's why you got to take it every day, So it's taking greater responsibility for our health. I think that would be a message that I would like to send out for people to do and for Zambia moving forward, that we take personal responsibility. It's our body. Let's look after it. And if we look after our body, if we look after our health, it's going to look after us. And if you are someone who wants to go out there and be an entrepreneur, start a business, fantastic. But you ain't going to do it unless you're feeling good, unless your mind is clear. So if you want to fulfill your potential, it's so important that you take responsibility for your health and look after yourself.
Kim, I'm giving you an opportunity to ask a question to our next guest. We don't know who our next guest is. Whatever question you have, they'll be able to answer it when we have them on the show.
Oh my goodness. Okay. A question for the next guest. What are you doing to live more authentically in your life?
Great. So Kim, we'd like to thank you so much. It's been very interesting. Thank you for trusting us with your story. Good luck, with the Umoyo brand. We hope that it grows every year, bigger and better. And also, your online classes, you're helping people. Very, very important. How does one get in touch with you, just in case they would want to be, other than going to the website?
So my name is Kim Otteby, and believe it or not, I'm the only Kim Otteby in the whole entire world. So if you search my name on social media, please connect with me on social media. I do a lot of motivational stuff there. All these talks that I'm doing, for instance, for even just at Umoyo, the inspirational talks I put up on social media. So if you search my name on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, you will find me.
Great. Kim, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you. So it's been such a pleasure, and I feel I could sit here for hours talking to you. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. That does it for this week. This has been the Kenny T One-on-One podcast brought to you by Yatu T. I'm back again next week, same place, same space.